When people talk about extreme wealth today, names like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates dominate the conversation. But adjusted for inflation, none of them even come close to the wealthiest businessman who ever lived, a man whose fortune was so vast that it reshaped governments, laws, and entire industries. This is the story of John D. Rockefeller and how he built the most powerful oil empire the world has ever seen. Most people see success as the result of talent, luck, or timing. But when you look closer, success follows patterns, repeatable systems built on decisions, strategy, and discipline. The difference isn't chance, it's the playbook. This is Success Playbook. On this channel, we break down real business stories, key decisions, and proven strategies so you can understand how success is actually built. Let's get started. To understand Rockefeller's rise, we have to start long before oil was worth anything at all. John Davison Rockefeller was born in upstate New York into a family that was unstable, unpredictable, and constantly on the move. His father was a traveling salesman who lived a double life, often disappearing for months at a time and running questionable business schemes wherever he went. From him, young John learned one crucial lesson early on: money rewards discipline, not chaos. His mother, on the other hand, was deeply religious, strict, and obsessed with frugality. She taught John to track every penny he earned, to save relentlessly, and to treat money as something that needed to be controlled. By his teenage years, Rockefeller was already keeping detailed ledgers of every cent he made and spent. When the family finally settled in Cleveland, Ohio, John saw opportunity. At just 16 years old, he landed a job as a bookkeeper at a produce commission firm. He worked longer hours than anyone else, memorized pricing trends, and quickly learned how goods flowed through the economy. But after years of loyalty, his employer refused to give him a meaningful raise. So Rockefeller did what he would do many times in his life. He walked away and built something bigger. At just 18, he launched his own produce brokerage, borrowing money and leveraging his reputation for honesty and precision. Within his first year, his business moved hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of goods. Then, in 1859, everything changed. In Pennsylvania, the first commercial oil well was drilled. Almost overnight, oil became the most promising new resource in America. Thousands rushed in, hoping to strike oil and get rich. Most of them failed. Rockefeller watched carefully and came to a critical conclusion. The real money wasn't in drilling, it was in refining. Drilling was risky, unpredictable, and expensive, but refining oil into kerosene used to light homes was steady, scalable, and could be optimized. So Rockefeller waited. In 1863, once railroads connected the oil fields to Cleveland, he partnered with chemists and engineers and opened his first refinery. From day one, Rockefeller focused on efficiency.
While competitors wasted byproducts, Rockefeller found ways to sell everything: lubricants, wax, tar, and fuel, squeezing profit from every drop of crude. He reinvested relentlessly, cut costs wherever possible, and accepted thinner margins in exchange for growth. And then came his most controversial strategy. Rockefeller began buying his competitors. Instead of fighting them endlessly, he invited rival refinery owners into his office, opened his books, and showed them a simple truth: he could operate at a loss longer than they could stay alive. Those who sold were paid generously and often offered high-level positions inside his growing company. Those who refused found themselves crushed by price wars they couldn't survive. By the late 1860s, Rockefeller controlled most of Cleveland's oil refining capacity. In 1870, he formally incorporated his empire as Standard Oil.
What followed was one of the most aggressive expansion campaigns in business history. Standard Oil negotiated secret rebates with railroads, ensuring Rockefeller shipped oil cheaper than anyone else. He built pipelines, storage facilities, and distribution networks, cutting out middlemen entirely. Competitors couldn't match his prices, suppliers couldn't ignore his volume, railroads couldn't afford to lose his business. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled over 90% of America's oil refining. Rockefeller had effectively become the gatekeeper of the world's most important resource. But success brought backlash. Journalists exposed Standard Oil's ruthless tactics. Politicians warned of monopolies strangling free markets. Public opinion turned sharply against Rockefeller. Sensing danger, Rockefeller reorganized his empire in 1882 into something entirely new, the Standard Oil Trust. Dozens of companies were placed under a single controlling structure, allowing Rockefeller to maintain power while technically complying with state laws. At its peak, Standard Oil owned thousands of wells, pipelines spanning continents, and employed over 100,000 people. Rockefeller himself quietly stepped back from daily operations, turning his attention toward philanthropy. But the government had not forgotten him. In 1890, the Sherman Antitrust Act was passed, giving federal authorities the power to dismantle monopolies like Standard Oil. After years of legal battles, the inevitable finally happened. In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil broken up into 34 separate companies. To many, this seemed like Rockefeller's defeat. In reality, it made him richer than ever. Rockefeller retained his shares in every successor company, companies that would later become ExxonMobil, Chevron, and others. As their values soared, so did his fortune. By the time of his death in 1937, John D. Rockefeller's wealth, adjusted for inflation, was estimated at over $400 billion, with some economists arguing it exceeded $1 trillion at its peak. No businessman before or since has matched his level of economic dominance. But Rockefeller's legacy isn't just about money. He gave away over half his fortune, funding universities, medical research, and foundations that still exist today. Love him or hate him, John D. Rockefeller didn't just build a company, he built the blueprint for modern capitalism. And more than a century later, his empire still fuels the world.